Welcome to Miles of Books, a book-centric show to take along on your run from Another Mother Runner and Feisty Media. I'm your host, Sarah Bowen Shea, and I'm joined by Ellison Wiest to talk about 3 new novels. Hello, Ellison.
Hey there, Sarah. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about these 3.
Yeah, so am I. So let's just jump right into our first novel, which is Meet the Newmans. Let me see if I can do this so that we can get it on screen. Has a very
Okay.
cute cover. I love the colors. Hey, it kind of matches my sweater.
Ah.
So Meet the Newmans. It's by Jennifer Niven, and it was
Mhm.
recommended by a longtime listener, which we always appreciate.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it so much that I found myself trying to carve out snippets of time to read it. Get this, one morning I woke up naturally before my alarm, like kind of well before my alarm. And usually, if I do that, I'll try to go back to sleep. That doesn't always work.
Mhm.
Or I'll lift weights, something like that. But instead, I allowed myself to read about 30 pages of the book. So, which was new for me. I don't typically start out, a day at 5:30 a.m. reading a book.
Oh, honey, just wait.
I sense that is not novel, huh?
Nope.
For you?
Nope. Well, the
Oh,
5:30 part is not novel. Let's say that.
okay, E. So give us a taste of the plot, please.
Okay, well, let's meet the Newmans. You are looking at Dell and Dinah and their sons Guy and Shep. And the year is 1964. And for almost 20 years, their fictional family has been featured on television as the all-American wholesome family who gets into these, quirky little spots of trouble. Yeah, think of, Leave It to Beaver, for those of us that remember Ozzie and Harriet type. But
Mhm.
now the world is changing, and they learn that one of their major sponsors has dropped out. Viewership rather is decreasing rapidly, and the executives at their TV production center tell them, "Look, looks like you guys may be on the way out. You've got 2 more episodes, and in the meantime, Dell, the husband, is keeping a secret from his wife. And
Mhm.
he suddenly disappears. And all of a sudden, they learn he's been in a car accident. This isn't spoiling anything. But
Yeah, it happens pretty early
poor,
on. Yeah.
yeah, poor Dinah rather, has to take the bull by the horns. She's always been the background player in real life and on the show. She's been the sweet, happy, dutiful wife and mother. Now she's got to come up with a plot, especially for the last episode, and she seeks some help from a younger woman, Juliet, who's a journalist who's a good 15 years younger than her and comes from a totally different mindset about what it means to be a woman in the mid
Mhm.
1960s. Add in that the oldest son, Guy, is keeping his love life secret for various
Mhm.
reasons. And the
Mhm.
youngest son, Shep, who's sort of leaped into another zone because now he's a rock musician and
Mhm.
he's getting a lot of attention, probably a lot more than anybody else in the family. But let's just say his luck is running out. So there
Mhm.
you have it.
Yeah, yeah. I loved everything about this novel. I thought it was a very clever conceit to have a fictional, obviously it's fiction, it's novel, so by its very definition they are fictional, yet they have a fictional life within this fiction
Right.
of being the TV show. And so I also really liked how it was constructed, or the timeline of it, which was at the beginning of each chapter, it would say like 10 days before the accident or 3 hours before the accident.
Right.
And then it switches to being compared to another event. And so that part of the reason that I got up out of bed and started reading was because I was, I don't know, let's say 2 days before the accident. I was like, I gotta get to the accident. Like, I gotta find out what happened here. It was just so compelling.
Right.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
and
it's interesting to watch how the characters change, all of them,
mm,
throughout the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just really loved the storyline of the matriarch's feminist awakening in this novel of Dinah's feminist awakening, um, thanks to the feminine mystique, right?
Right.
And just I thought it was, I think in a less talented writer's hands, it could have been heavy-handed, it could have been overdone, and I just thought it was a really interesting way to explore the different generational approaches to feminism in the 60s. And one could argue feminism today, the third wave. And I thought it was eye opening in and thought provoking in a way that sometimes fiction isn't.
Hmm.
It made me think in the way a nonfiction book does, yet in a more enjoyable fashion.
Yes.
Because it was plot driven.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So and I know, don't freak out. I did fold down a page, just one single page though. um, um, and where is it? Yeah. Oh, I like this. This to me is kind of what I'm talking about. And also this to me really spoke to us women runners. And it's a scene where later in the book where Dinah and Juliet are having a gathering of various women. And it says, minutes later, she returned, carrying a tray with two new bottles of wine and a fresh pot of coffee. And that's Flora, who's their maid. As Flora set down the refreshments and refilled empty glasses, Dinah was talking about her mother. She used to call it the patchwork quilt method. Little pieces of time you take for yourself to write or paint or dance or study or whatever it is you like doing, whatever you need to do for you. You take these pieces of time when and where you can, and before you know it, you've cobbled something together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another mother runner in a nutshell.
And it is, 60 years later, it's still the same for many, many of us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes. So thanks to Bammer Pam for recommending this book, and I think both you and I highly recommend it to
Yes.
other listeners. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, it's time for a brief break for deals from the brands that support our show. We'll be back in a jiff to talk about more novels. Next up is another book with roots in a previous time, just like Meet the Newmans was, although this one moves into current day. It's Lake Effect by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney. And here is that cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talk to us about the plot of this book.
Well, this one, we fast forward about 13 years to 1977. And I have to admit that at that year I was just into college. And so I had a lot of aha moments with this, particularly with the music. But we're in a very affluent neighborhood in Rochester, New York. And there are several families there that are all, the husbands are working great jobs and the wives are pretty much all stay at home. And one of the sort of main mothers in the group, Nina Larkin, gets a copy of The Joy of Sex from a friend of hers, a neighbor who has just recently been left by her husband and she's divorced. And after reading it, Nina has to kind of come to face with the fact that she's in a relatively sexless marriage with Sam, who's an excellent provider, a wonderful father to their two teenage daughters. And from there, things begin to spin off. And it ends with Nina and another husband in the group running off together, just at a time when Nina's oldest daughter is getting ready to go to college and is discovering love for herself. So your first part of the story really talks about the repercussions of this act and how it affects the children in both sides of the family. And then we fast forward about 20 years, and we're sort of focusing on the eldest daughter, whose name was, help me out here, Sarah, I cannot
Mm.
remember. Clara? Was that it? Because I know the
Yes, it
young
is. Mm-hmm.
Clara, thanks.
Yes.
All right. So
Mm-hmm.
Clara is now a very well thought of food designer and photographer in New York City. But she is called back to Rochester because her younger sister is getting married. And there are some complications on that end. And also the complications that Clara has never gotten over what she views as what her mother did to their family. And so she ends up doing something which sort of spirals everybody. And we're able to see what's happened in the meantime. But I thought it was an excellent, also like Meet the Newmans. You've got these women kind of waking up to the fact that they have agency, that they are able to make decisions, and that sometimes they have to make hard decisions. And the ever universal question of, if I'm seeking my happiness, how much do I owe to my children, to my other family members? When is it time to put myself first, or is it ever time to do that?
I also find it interesting that both of these novels pay a lot of due to actual nonfiction books that came out.
Right.
So that this one is The Joy of Sex and the other one was The Feminine Mystique.
Right.
And so it's interesting to weave actual things in. And going back to Meet the Newmans, there were some facts in there, like I didn't know that, my gosh, that Burr, the actor, Aaron Burr,
Raymond Burr.
right?
Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr. Aaron Burr is the one who was in the Hamilton. Yes, Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr was actually gay and had a long-term closeted relationship. I find it fascinating when little bits of reality work their way into novels.
Yeah.
So just intriguing to me that really pinnacle nonfiction credos were woven into both of these novels.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think I pay respect to both authors for doing that, because it also almost gives you the feeling that they're saying, yes, this is a work of fiction, but I am situating it around morals and actual feelings of the time, so you get this sense, a real good sense of place and time that I think you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yes. And a resonance that you can still feel it reverberating, even though both of these novels are set, in the previous century, that they feel still resonant today.
Definitely.
In their own ways.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the final offering is an intriguing one. It is, let me make sure I get this, Lady Tremaine by Rachel Hochhauser, I'm going to pronounce it.
That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay. It is a reimagining of Cinderella seen through the eyes of the infamous diabolical stepmother, or was she?
Yeah.
So Ellison, tell us about this novel.
Well, everybody who's loved the tale of Cinderella, and anybody who hasn't, I really think you should pick this up. I am not a huge fan of retelling of certain books, although I think about Eligible from Curtis Sittenfeld, which you and I both loved.
Love.
So I have to admit, I went into this one a bit skeptical, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. You've got the wicked stepmother, although is she, and she is referred throughout most of the book as either Lady Tremaine, Lady Bramley, or by her nickname Ethel. And she has the two dark-haired daughters and a very ethereal, wispy blonde stepdaughter. And there's a ball, but that, my friend, is where all the same points with Cinderella end, all the similarity, because we are asked to believe at first that, yes, the thing that every young woman in the kingdom wants is to be married to the very handsome prince. But do we? Also, the prince's mother the queen, who is always seen as being, sort of a backdoor figure, very benevolent and loving. Well, she and Lady Tremaine have a history, which comes up in various ways. And the relationship among the sisters, that's very different. And just the way that Hochhauser puts it all together, and she does not give Lady Tremaine a total pass, as readers will see, but it's a really fun read. It's got some sort of poignant parts in it as well that surprised me. I really cannot recommend this enough for anybody, even if you, like me, are not a fan of the, hey, let's take this story and give it a modern twist. There is not a modern twist here. We are back in Cinderella country. We are in the deep, dark woods with the castle off in the distance. And that, to me, just makes it even more fun and impressive.
Well, I have two thoughts from that.
Okay.
One is, do you think, seeing that Wicked, in its second movie, do you think fans of that would enjoy this because it is a spin on a classic genre?
Yes. And I also think it's not historical fiction, but I think that fans of historical fiction will enjoy it as well, just because she really digs into the atmosphere. But no, I think fans of Wicked, if you're somebody that's still, and I know there are a few of you out there that still every once in a while surreptitiously give a look to an old copy of Cinderella, Snow White, etc. Rumpelstiltskin, which I was about to say Rasputin, but that's
it begins with an R, has a lot of letters.
Yeah.
It's not a good person at their core.
Nope. And what was your second thought?
Yes, thank you for helping me circle back. So it takes a village, doesn't it? In hearing you talk about these three novels, it suddenly the light bulb went on for me, which is that they all have the theme of a mother in them.
Yes.
And particularly a mother's relationship with her children, how her actions can affect their children, how mothers are often looking out for their children's best interests and what that can look like. So I think I've just come up with a headline for this episode, but also talk a little bit about that.
No, I think you're exactly right. And the other thing that I was sort of confronted with in at least two of the books, and I'll let readers decide which two those are. There are also cases where, and you and I have both been guilty of this, true confessions, where mothers think that they are doing what is best for their children. And they don't do it out of any type of malevolence or disquiet on their end. They just feel this is what would really help my child. And sometimes they're proven wrong.
Excellent point. Well, thank you for serving up these three novels for us, Ellison. And listeners, thanks for joining us. Please let your friends and running buddies know about the show and the Another Mother Runner podcast and the whole family of Feisty shows. Miles of Books is a production of Another Mother Runner and Feisty Media. For more on Feisty and our other shows, I'm trying to use the we, our pronoun instead of they, them when I talk about Feist. It's a work in progress. So for more on Feisty and our other shows, events, workshops, and Feisty Fest, which I will be at in mid-September, visit feisty.co. Always a delight to see you, Ellison. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Looking forward to it.